This meeting is being recorded.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's session. You can see from the entrance slide what we're doing. We're working with the Oxlep tonight to look at an introduction to apprenticeships for Oxfordshire parents. Why? Why? Because apprenticeships are a really good option, but there's maybe not so much information about, or maybe some of you don't know about them because they didn't exist when we were at school or when we were going through these processes. There's a lot of opportunities in Oxfordshire as well. And that's why we're here to talk about them. We've got a panel of a few different people that either work for a learning provider or work in apprenticeships or are apprentices or have been apprentices themselves. So we've got some great information. It's a chance for you to ask questions. This whole session is about promoting what is in Oxfordshire, what's available and what can be achieved. I asked in the chat box, why are you here? We've got a plethora of different answers coming through, but a lot of the main theme is what's available in this area. And why have Oxlep put this on? Because there is so much available. We want to stop people thinking that they have to leave their area to go somewhere to be successful when it's right on your doorstep. But if we don't put it out there for you to see it and understand it and hear about it, then how are you going to get to it and apply for it and be proud of it? So this is what we're going to do tonight. To communicate through tonight's session, you can use the Q&A box, you can use the chat box. The chat box is ad hoc, like I've already asked a few questions and we've had answers come through. The Q&A box, use it because as we go through and you hear from different speakers, you're going to have questions that pop into your head. We've got a Q&A at the end. Ask that question straight in the chat box straight away, in the Q&A box, sorry, straight away, because then that way, you don't have to remember it at the end. You've got it out on the paper, as it were. It's there, and we can deal with it when the appropriate time arises. So use these functions. Now, moving forward, who am I? Why am I here? Well, my name is Max. I work for Pathway CTM. We're the organisation that's helping host this. We're not the main event. I'm not the main event. I just make sure that everything works together. The main event is those people representing Oxfordshire and Oxlep and the opportunities and apprenticeships available in your area. At Pathway CTM, this is what we do. We help students find those opportunities. We help those opportunities find the right students. We help parents and teachers understand what the opportunities are, what it is that exists. Like one parent said in there, they want to be able to help their year 11 son make the best decision for their future. This is what we do at Pathway CTM. We want to help parents who maybe are a little bit lost and don't know where to look or ask. And we have that information and we'll guide you. And the same with your children or your students. That's what we exist for and that's what we do. And I spend a lot of time researching other companies and brands to bring that information to students and helping students find those right opportunities. This is why we're working with the Oxfordshire LEP, because we want to get students involved. We want to get you excited about what's in your area. So you can see from the agenda for today what we've got going on. I'm going to give a quick welcome. Then we have Leah, who's going to speak, and she's from the Oxlep. Then we're going to meet Hannah, and she works for Ignite Sport, and she's going to talk through different opportunities, different things that we need to know about apprenticeships. Then we're going to meet Anna. She works at Milestone Infrastructure. And then we're going to meet Freya. And also it says there Freya, and she's from the Oxford University Hospital, but we're also going to meet her parents if they're okay with that. We'll ask them questions. You are parents watching this session. We have an apprentice in Freya who's come along, and her parents are there available. So if you've got questions specifically as a parent to parent, use it and ask it. And I know that her parents have said they're willing to speak and answer some questions within reason, obviously. So let's use that option that's available to us. Then we're going to have the Q&A. But let's get moving. I'm going to put up a poll now. I want some information out of you. These are now, I've made them a little bit multiple choice because I know that we're going to have parents that are going to be sitting with children or teachers with students. So the poll is on your screen now. Answer those questions. Which of these applies to you? Are you a parent, a carer or guardian, a teacher, a careers advisor? Are you year 9, 10, 11, 12, 13? Have you left school? If you're a parent and you're with a year 12 child, select both. You can do multiple choice tonight. The other thing as well is which route are you or your child thinking of taking after leaving school or college? Is it a university degree you're looking at? Is it degree apprenticeship, straight into work, other level apprenticeship, gap year? Not sure, and that's why you're on this event. And again, if you're thinking about a couple of options, tick those few options so we can see. And the last question is a bit brutal, but it's how much do you know about apprenticeships? Is it hardly anything? Help me understand more. That's why you're here. Is it a fair amount, but you still need to know that little bit more? Or are you practically an expert? I'm going to do that really difficult thing that I find hard. I'm going to be silent for 30 seconds so you can answer. Right, we're going to give it another 15 seconds. We've almost got all the answers in. We're almost there. Okay, we'll give it a little bit more. Almost there. A couple of good few things coming in through the chat box as well, and I might address those in a short second. Okay, let's share the results. Let's have a look. So 85% of parents, 15% of year 9, 25% year 10, 17% year 11, and 13% year 12, 6% of year 13. Absolutely fine. There's me and my wheel again. Some of you have left school as well. Now, which route are you or your child thinking of taking after leaving school or college? 35% are looking at university degree, 48% degree apprenticeship, 4% straight into work, 29% are looking at other levels of apprenticeships, 10% gap year, 56% not sure. That's why you're on this event. Absolutely. And if there was less of you that were not sure, then my job would be in jeopardy. So that's good. 73% hardly know anything, and that's why you want us to help you understand more. Great. 27% know a fair amount, and nobody's practically an expert, which is good. It's what we like to see. Before we move on, what I'm going to do, somebody else put it in the chat box, because somebody did say, looking for apprenticeships, what's available for girls? The reply is, not sure why anything would not be an opportunity for a girl. This is a really fair point, but let's be clear about one thing. There's certain industries that look like or look less attractive to females than they should, because maybe it's traditionally a male-dominated industry. And through apprenticeships and through this work, we want to show you that everything is available, and companies are actively trying to recruit more demographics into their businesses. Everything is available. So it's a fair question, but it's a fair reply as well. But if you are wondering, is that for me? Is that the right industry for me? Do the research and let's see, and connect with other people like you, and you'll see that those opportunities do exist. But that's what we're here for. And then somebody did ask, who are Oxlep? Well, there's no better time than for me to hand over to Leah, who is from Oxlep, to give us her introduction and to take it away with the slides. So Leah, welcome to this evening.
Thank you very much. So I will give you a very brief kind of blurb on how I would describe Oxlep. So Oxlep is the Oxfordshire Local Enterprise Partnership. We support skills and the local economy to grow. So we do that by supporting businesses. So I work specifically with businesses to help them identify what their skills gaps are, which potentially could be apprenticeship opportunities. And then we also have a team of careers enterprise coordinators that work with the schools. So they bridge the gap between businesses and schools. So in a kind of nutshell, that's what we do, and that's what we're about. So I've come to talk to you this evening about apprenticeships and what they are. I'm going to give you a very brief kind of overview of what those are. And also just to let you know, if you don't know already, it is National Apprenticeship Week this week, and that's happening throughout this week. So you'll see lots of posts and probably information running right up until Friday. Can I have the next slide, please? So what are apprenticeships? Apprenticeships have changed so much over the past few years. There are some brilliant opportunities out there. For the parents that are on the call, we probably traditionally think of apprenticeships as being like your plumbing, your electricians, and those kind of practical jobs. But there's so much more out there. In fact, there's over 600 different types of apprenticeships, ranging from intermediate level 2 right through to doing a degree. I'll talk about the levels in a little while later, but you could be a doctor, you could be a solicitor. The great thing about apprenticeships is that you can do a degree route. Basically, with an apprenticeship, you are employed. So it is like going to work. It's a paid job. You have the same entitlements that employees will have in terms of holidays, sick pay, earning a salary. The main thing is that you do earn a salary and you're paid when you're doing an apprenticeship. Typically, minimum wage is currently £4.81 per hour. That will be rising to £5.28 from April this year. Some companies do pay slightly more and above minimum wage. It's worth looking. And usually when you finish your apprenticeship or when you go through your duration of your time with a company, you can expect pay rises, increments. You will have a contract. So as I said, it is a job where you have a working contract. Typically, apprenticeships, depending on the level, will last from 1 to 4 years plus. So 1 year probably for a lower level course, and 12 months is the minimum length of time that an apprenticeship will take, right through to potentially 4 or 5 years if you're doing a degree. The main thing about an apprenticeship and what kind of makes it slightly different to college, if you like, is that 80% of your time will be spent working, what we call on the job, and 20% of your time is then spent off the job. So the 20% is where you do your study time and your assessments and work with a training provider. I know Hannah's going to go into that in a bit more depth when it gets to her talk. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay, so this is the level. So as you can see, there are 4 kind of categories, if you like, of levels of apprenticeship. So they start at intermediate level, which is the level 2. And as I say, they go right through to the degree, so down to the level 6 and 7. You can see on the end column, it kind of gives you the equivalent of what they compare to, if you like. So an intermediate would be the same as completing 5 GCSEs. Your level 3 would be your A-level courses. T-levels, I know someone asked about a T-level course, that would come into your level 3 as well. And actually a T-level is like a flip reverse of an apprenticeship, where you would spend 80% of your time in college and 20% of your time doing what they call an industry placement. So it's the complete flip reverse. Happy to answer any more questions that you might have about T-levels as we go through. Can I have the next slide? So as I said, there are over 600 different types of apprenticeships, and you can see they range in a vast area of different sectors. So you can do law, you could be a solicitor, doctor, nurse, vets, business, you can do sporting apprenticeships. I know someone mentioned engineering. There are lots of engineering apprenticeships available in Oxfordshire at the moment. Beauty, media and art, pretty much there is anything. I think if you have an interest and you wanted to look into it, I'm pretty confident that you would find an apprenticeship that matches up to that. Next slide, please. So this is a great one. This shows logos of businesses that we know that offer apprenticeships. Some of them are kind of national big names, and a lot of these are also our local Oxfordshire employers that we know offer a great range of apprenticeships. We also work with a lot of these businesses as well, which is great. Can I have the next slide, please? So this slide just shows, when you look at one business, for example, there are a vast array of different apprenticeships that could be on offer within that one business. It won't be one particular apprenticeship. So I think last night I described Bladen Palace as offering a great range of apprenticeships. So you could have apprenticeships in customer services there. It could be event management. It might be human resources. It might be horticultural, logistics. So it's really worth looking at different company websites and finding out what their offering is in terms of apprenticeships. Next slide, please. Oops. Okay, so I did a search yesterday, and I will tell you where you can search and where you can find this out. But the great news is that you can see at the moment within Oxford, there are 70 vacancies within the kind of city centre. Obviously, the wider you pan out and search for apprenticeships, the more that will be available out there. But the good news is that there are many apprenticeship opportunities, and this will change every day, every week. Though it's like jobs, as they become available, that number will rise up and fluctuate slightly. Next slide. So we're just going to play you a little clip now. This is a great video that kind of shows, I think someone kind of said, oh, what's available within Oxfordshire in our area. I'll let this video kind of explain that to you.
Oxfordshire! What does it mean to you? The universities, Oxford United, home. There's much more you probably don't even know about. Maybe you're thinking of going further afield when you leave school, but your future could be right on your doorstep. Let me show you in this Wow Show special about careers in Oxfordshire. We're at Harwell, the UK's leading science, innovation and technology campus. This is one of 9 technology and business parks in Oxfordshire. Harwell alone has over 200 organisations and 6,000 people. They could fill half of Kassam Stadium. Let's take a look around.
Check it out.
We're outside the Rosalind Franklin Institute. Inside here, they're researching brand new medicine to try and treat the untreatable. And over there, this is the diamond light source. There's nothing else like it in the UK. It creates intense light beams 10 billion times brighter than the sun. Or here at Open Cosmos, where they're making and testing satellites to go into space. Their focus is tackling some of our planet's biggest challenges. If you're interested in space, energy or health technology, this is the place to be. Everyone at Harwell is helping make the world a better place. Or maybe you want to save lives and help people. We're home to some of the UK's largest NHS teaching hospitals, training our future doctors and nurses for the front line, and also providing community and mental health services for people of all ages. Perhaps you're more creative. At Rebellion, they publish books and comics, make film and TV, and are one of the biggest independent game developers in Europe. They're always on the lookout for new talent. What about a career where you could help save the planet? At Greencore, they're leading the green revolution in construction by building zero-carbon homes to combat climate change. Haven't grabbed you yet? Stick with me. Oxfordshire is at the heart of the iconic Motorsport Valley, which has 4,300 different companies, including the world-famous Williams F1 racing team. Maybe you can help them build their next World Championship winning car. Or you could be part of the team that's shaping the future of mobility with autonomous vehicle company Oxbotica. You may be able to help in more ways than you think. Whether you're interested in science, art, business, history, whether you like working on your own or in a team, there could be a role at all of these companies for you. And the opportunities just go on. There's publishing, tourism with Blenheim Palace and Bicester Village, Thames Valley Police, and back to where we started. The universities employ over 18,000 people between them. All these employers are looking for young people to join them, whether as a trainee, apprentice or graduate. So remember, whoever you are, whatever your interests, your fabulous future could lie right here in Oxfordshire.
Okay, so as you can see, there are some amazing opportunities that are available right here within our own county. I can tell you the kind of local growth sectors, so what those areas that are really growing at the moment. So the space industry with Harwell in Oxford, life sciences, so that's things like research assistants and biomedical scientists. Construction is really on the growth, digital and creative, health and social care, and motorsport and advanced engineering. Another thing that we do in Oxlep is that we do gather local market intelligence. So I can tell you that from our statistics, 95% of apprentices within Oxfordshire do go into long-term employment, and 100% of the higher level apprentices do lead into long-term employment as well. So some really kind of promising statistics there. Someone asked, I think in the chat box, if there are apprenticeships for the police. As you can see from that video, Thames Valley Police were shown there. So yes, there are, and they do have an excellent programme in place. So, excuse me, how can you find out about apprenticeships? So the government have a great website. So if you do a search for apprenticeships or apprenticeships.gov.uk, that will help you to find apprenticeships. But there is also a great website that's specifically for Oxfordshire and opportunities in Oxfordshire, and that's called oxme.info. What that does is it puts all the Oxfordshire apprenticeships into one place. So that's a great resource. Can I have the next slide, Max, please? Okay, and just other places to look. So if you know there's a particular company that you want to look at, so the person that mentioned the police, have a look on their website, have a look at their social media, their Facebook feeds. If they're not showing apprenticeship opportunities at the moment, keep looking because they will appear. Okay, so I think my tip would be keep looking at websites. Next slide. Okay, some
Come back to us, Leah. Whilst Leah sorts out some technical issues, I mean, I can take over for a second for her. As you can see, there's resources for parents as well. There's a podcast that's available. You can see it there. It's called The Parent Perspective. And that's really good because it is what it says and it gives you that information. You can go to apprenticeships.gov.uk as well. If you're watching on a laptop, there's a QR code on the screen. Grab your mobile phone. I'll leave this slide up for a few more seconds. Just go to a camera and hover it over that QR code and you will see it pick it up. I'm probably preaching to those that are already initiated, but it will take you through to that connecting people with ambition to business vision. And that's the apprenticeship website, and that will give you a lot more information as well. So the information for parents is out there and you can have a look at that. Just give you another 5 seconds with that QR code. And if we need it again later at the end, I can put it back up. There is more information available out there as well. Here's some more web pages that you can go to. Again, there's another QR code to scan. The point is that you're not alone. There is information out there. Use the Amazing Apprenticeships website. That's what you can see at the bottom just below. That Amazing Apprenticeships website takes it from a point of view as a teacher, as a student, as a parent. So you can have a look at it from different points of view, and it gives you the different stories and the ability to be able to make informed choices. You can see Find a Future there as well. That's an online careers platform. You can read it. It's for young people. It's for schools, colleges, and parents. Again, we're making sure that we're approaching it from all angles because different people are going to want to take different information and need to know different things. But also, parents want to hear from other parents. Students want to hear from other apprentices. The 360expo.com, Find Your Future, is the place to go to see it. So have a look for it. Use those resources. Remember, this is being recorded. So this recording is going to be available in a few days' time once we get the recording over to the Oxlep, and then we can they will be able to put it up on their resources hub. It will be there available so you can go back and watch it. So as we can see there, that was a lot of information from the Oxlep and Leah. She will be here and she will be able to answer questions as we get there later on. Use those resources. But now I'm going to introduce Hannah. We're going to hear from Hannah, and I'm going to just take this slide down so that we can see Hannah and hear from her properly. And she's going to talk to you from a different perspective. So Hannah, welcome to tonight's session. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, so my name's Hannah. I work for a company called Ignite Sport. We're based in Oxfordshire, specifically in Marston at Oxford City Football Club. And we are an employer of apprentices and also a training provider. So we provide that, the education element of that apprenticeship experience. So the 20%, as Leah spoke about. So I'm going to give you both angles, give you a bit of insight into how things operate, bring it to life. And I'm not just going to talk about sport, because that's what I do and where we work, but I will use examples of sport. But I would suggest that everything I'm saying is completely transferable to whatever sector you're looking to go into, and different levels. So I will sort of give lots of general information. So if you're not into sport, please don't switch off. But just one thing I want to follow on from what Leah's been saying, and I know the audience tonight is primarily a sort of a year 9 to 12, 13 audience with parents or carers, so a young audience. But I just want to sort of throw it in that actually you can do an apprenticeship at any age. So if you are slightly older on this call, you're a grown up, so to speak, you've got an older sibling, you've got older family friends or whatever, don't ever rule out an apprenticeship. There's no upper age limit. There is a younger age limit. You can't do an apprenticeship any younger than the completion of year 11, but there's no upper age limit. So a story from home, I'm 51 and I'm on a level 5 leadership and management apprenticeship. So it really is never too late to embrace the apprenticeship journey. Anyway, back to my script. So 2 angles. I want to give you an angle from an employer. So what we are looking for in an apprentice applicant. And then as a training provider, how it works. And I'll just give you our insight as to how it all rolls. It's not as complicated as I think some people think. So to remind us, everyone, like Leah said, an apprenticeship is a job. It's a paid role. You get an employment contract. It's a step into the grown-up world, and that's how I describe it. I talk about when I'm looking at candidates, are you ready to work? Do you want to learn how to work? Are you ready to take that step into the grown-up world of adult conversation in the workplace? You're guaranteed as a minimum a 12-month contract, and there are longer contracts depending on the level of apprenticeship you're going for. But you're guaranteed a minimum of 12 months. You're also guaranteed employment as a minimum of 30 hours a week. And if any employer you're talking to is talking less than that, or not 12 months, and importantly, if they're not suggesting upwards of the minimum apprenticeship wage of £4.81 an hour, then there are some alarm bells there. So £4.81 an hour, 30 hours a week, minimum 12 months. So if you started on that, and I'm talking to the young people now, that's currently £625 a month, due to go up in April, the hourly rate from £4.81 to £5.28. So what's that, £660, £670 a month? And that's the minimum you can expect to be paid as an apprentice. Obviously, higher levels, different employers do pay more. So it's just really worth remembering if you're going into a conversation with an employer, just to check that they're operating within the rules. And that's really important. The other thing that's really important to know and understand is that the 80-20 rule has to apply. So 80% is on the job. So we talk about on the job, that's like doing the job. So in my world, that's sports coaching or teaching assistant. Okay, so I'll tell you about our standards in a minute. So 80% doing the job. So whatever that job is you're applying to do, engineering, medical, sport, social care, whatever, 80% of your weekly hours will be doing the job. And 20% have to be allocated for your education time. And they have to be allocated within your normal working week. It's not like you do 30 hours of your job, oh, and then evenings and weekends you have to catch up on your education work. That's not how it rolls. You have to do your 6 hours, your 20%, if 6 hours, 20% of the 30-hour week is what I'm basing this on, within a normal working week. So you're paid to do the learning side of it. And I think the nice phrase that we all use in industry, earning and learning, is a really nice catchphrase to remember. You're earning, you're learning, 80-20. So it's important that you understand that. So it's very heavily weighted, very heavy bias to sort of rolling your sleeve up, getting your hands dirty, learning in the job, being in the lab, being on the sports field, shadowing, and really getting underneath the skin of what the job is. Now, when someone applies for an apprenticeship with us, I'm going to give you a bit of an insight on what we're looking for. I don't believe we're unique in the skills that we're looking for, and I defy any employer to not value what I'm about to say. So young people, listen up. Because apprenticeships is about doing the job, we want people skills, soft skills, a level of confidence. I talk about young people particularly wanting to be sponges. So I want young people that are inquisitive, questioning, wanting to absorb, wanting to learn, asking questions. So I want those soft skills, people skills, social skills. I want people in an interview or coming to talk to me who can hold a level of eye contact. I talk about not hiding behind fringes, definitely no hoodies. So that's sort of that sense that I can see that person. Now, I don't think at 16, 17, 18, those confidence and social skills are honed. Don't get me wrong, they don't have to be polished. But I want to see an emergence, an enthusiasm and a passion to want to learn and show those soft skills to me, and we will help develop them. And although sport is all about people skills, you know, if you're looking at working in anything that's customer facing, whether it's retail, hospitality, working in a busy office, anything like that, those people skills are really important. We can teach you technical stuff, but I want to see a semblance of those soft skills when you're applying. And so much so at Ignite, and this is something that we do, we don't actually ask for a written application anymore. We actually ask for a video, a 2-minute video with guidance on, and I say, just tell me about yourself. Talk for 2 minutes, or just on your phone, nothing fancy. Send it me on WhatsApp. Talk for me on a couple of minutes about why you want to be an apprentice at Ignite. Tell me about your sporting background. Tell me about who you cheer for on the weekend. Tell me about your work experience you've done. Tell me about the school teams you've played in. Tell me about your DFE expeditions that you've done. All that interesting stuff. Because although academic qualifications are really important, and I wouldn't want anyone on this call to suggest I'm saying any different, as an employer, we want someone to fit into the working environment. And I don't just launch to, right, let's show me your GCSEs or show me your A levels or show me your distinctions at BTEC. So it's really important that you, for us, that you come across as that rounded individual. So we don't, when Leah put some stats up earlier about the number of vacancies, many employers, probably we're one of them, we don't actually overtly advertise in formal sort of routes, sort of on job agencies. We use our networks and our partnerships and our networking events like this, word of mouth, to recruit our apprentices. And we also use things like work experience. So if you get the opportunity to do work experience in your sort of chosen sector, do embrace that. So we may have a young person coming on work experience in year 10, and they may be brilliant, and then I'll talk to them, and then they apply for an apprenticeship in year 11, and I look back and go, God, they were great. And it doesn't automatically mean if you do work experience, you've got the apprenticeship, but it is a great way for you to see if you like us and for us to see if we like you. So do use work experience opportunities as a real opportunity to dip your toe in the water and get yourself known to an employer. So on to the training provider role that we fulfill. So that's the 20% education. Tell you a bit about that, how that operates. Most training providers now do their training via what I call a blended approach, blended learning. And in reality, what that means is some of it's online and some of it's face-to-face. And through, I think the only positive that came out of COVID, we've all as training providers and employers actually learned really great ways of using platforms to communicate as we are tonight. You know, ordinarily we've all got ourselves into a big room tonight, wouldn't we, all travelled, but actually using platforms like Teams, like Zoom and others are great ways of us being able to educate our learners all around the country. Upload work online, not replacing face-to-face contact, but a blended approach whereby you can do both online and face-to-face. And with every apprenticeship standard, there is always going to be what we call an endpoint assessment, often abbreviated to sort of the acronym EPA. And essentially what an EPA is a external person coming in to verify that you are at the standard you should be on completion of your apprenticeship. So level 2, level 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, doesn't matter. An endpoint assessment It's there to verify that you're at the industry expected level. Now they're designed not to be scary. I sort of describe them as the polar opposite to exams. No surprises. You are in control of them. You ordinarily have a practical element, of course, because apprenticeships are practical. You ordinarily would do a presentation on something that you've done over your apprenticeship. And then you'd have what we call professional discussions, sort of questioning, but in a nice way, to tease out your knowledge that you've learned over your apprenticeship. And the beauty about apprenticeships and good employers and good training providers will be that you should only be put forward for your endpoint assessment when you're ready. It's not like an exam cycle where everyone has to sit maths on the 25th of June and you've got to be ready for it, or mocks in January. You don't. Your endpoint assessment you should be put forward to that when you are ready, so that there's a high level of success, as opposed to rushing to get through to a certain date and then failing and feeling all that goes with that. So endpoint assessments are brilliant to tease out what you know. And if someone does have additional needs, and I did notice there was a chat there in the box, but that's fine, because we might just lengthen the time that you spend on your apprenticeship and just push back your endpoint assessment to when you're ready. And I think I did notice there's a question about additional needs. You know, of course, every good employer and every good training provider will take into account someone's additional needs in both the recruitment process, the experience as an employee, and the endpoint assessment process. And I know, for example, I've got numerous examples in our business of where individuals with, for example, autism, we've tailored the service, have tailored the employment and tailored the training to meet their needs. So then just sort of finally, a little bit about what we offer. And again, you could cross out sport and put technical, electrical roles and mechanics, or engineering or dentistry. So we offer a level 2 community sports apprenticeship. We offer a level 3 teaching assistant apprenticeship. And I noticed just before on the chat, there was a message about teaching. So we offer a level 3 teaching assistant apprenticeship, which is a really nice entry point for someone to learn about whether they actually want to work in that school environment. We deliver that through the lens of PE and school sport, but other organisations deliver teaching assistants in a very generic manner. And that is a great way, as I say, for someone to see if they actually like wanting to spend all day, all week for a year plus in an educational establishment. We also offer level 4 sports coach, level 5 leadership and management. So a really broad range of apprenticeship standards, not as broad as Leah mentioned, like, for example, Blenheim, but most businesses now are seeing that actually it's good to offer lots of opportunities, because then you get progression. Because we offer apprenticeships at Ignite, just finally, because we want to grow our own talent. We want to develop and train our workforce, a pipeline of talent we talk about. And also, just finally, offering higher level apprenticeships, for example, like the level 5, it's a great way of retaining staff. So someone, for example, I've been in the business 5 years, quite old, long time since I did my degree. Actually, from the company to invest in me to do my level 5 leadership and management, it's going to retain and keep me and motivate me for years to come. So many companies do offer lots of opportunities for those reasons, both recruitment and retention. And then just finally, the myth that all apprenticeships start in September. No, many do start in September in line with the academic year, and lots of the students online are looking for September 2023 start dates. There are lots that start September aligned to the academic year, but there are also loads that start, and we talk about rolling on, rolling off. So do, like Leah said, keep looking on the various websites and contacting various companies, because there is lots of recruitment going on mid-year, and you've not missed the opportunity if you missed, for example, a September window. I'll stop there.
I mean, that's fantastic. More great information, and I'm glad that we covered that area about additional needs. What I will say from a recruitment point of view, because I did used to recruit students and young people, not actually anybody of any age, onto apprenticeships and degree apprenticeships, and I did recruitment across many levels. If you have got additional needs, tell us, because then we can put things in place. We can make it right for you, because otherwise it's unfair for us to disadvantage you. But also, if we didn't know that we were disadvantaging you, then it's not a win-win for anyone. Everybody loses out. So just tell us. I know sometimes it can be uncomfortable. Well, actually, I've heard, people have told me, but it will help you in the long run. But also use it as a measure as well, because if you go to a company and you say, well, look, I've got additional needs, can you help me out? This is what I'm going to need to have put in place for me to be able to do this interview successfully. and they say, yeah, of course we can, absolutely, we'll accommodate that, and they do, then you kind of already know that you might be onto a winner here, because you're also interviewing the company. And if they're prepared to do that, then you think, well, actually, this is feeling good so far. I'm being appreciated and I'm being respected. But also, if the opposite happens, if that company turns around and says, well, no, that's too difficult for us, I don't know, we haven't got time for that, run away, run to somebody else, leave. Don't even bother doing the interview, because that company is already showing you they're not respecting you. They're not treating you fairly. And if they're going to do that at the interview stage, what are they going to do when they hire you? So use it as a barometer, okay? See how you feel. How are you being treated? How are they reacting? Are they going to help you out? Because they're going to be your long-term partner for your future. So just think about that, but do not be afraid to ask for those adjustments or whatever it is that you need. Even if it's at the beginning, or you don't say it and you don't need it at the beginning, but it happens later on, talk, be open, be honest, and it will help out. Brilliant. I'm glad we've approached that, because it's really important to understand that. We had similar questions yesterday. Brilliant. Hannah, we're going to have questions for you later on. Stick around. You know you did last night, so I've got a few lined up for you already. So make sure you're prepped and ready. What we're going to do now is we're going to move on and we're going to meet. So that was Hannah. We're now going to meet Anna. This is a host's worst nightmare, making sure I've got my teeth in, I'm getting the right person at the right time. So hopefully you should be able to see my screen. We're moving over to Anna, and Anna is from Milestone Infrastructure. So Anna, good evening and welcome to the session. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Evening, everyone. As Max said, I'm Anna. I currently work for Milestone Infrastructure. I'm a 4th year civil engineering apprentice, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about the company and what I do day to day. Next slide, please. So Milestone, we are essentially a civil engineering company. So we work in the construction industry. We're part of M Group Services, who are like a parent company who own a lot of smaller engineering companies, and we sit within their transport division. We manage highways basically up and down the UK, predominantly in the southeast. Specifically in Oxfordshire, we manage the highways. So on that little map there, anything that's not a red route, because they're all the major routes, we maintain and improve. And we work with Oxfordshire County Council to make that happen. So as you can see, there's a lot of carriageway, structures and footway that we're basically responsible for. Next slide, please. So just some of the apprenticeship options that we have in Milestone. So you've got the civil engineer level 6 degree, which is what I'm currently doing. So that's a 5 to 6 year apprenticeship. So you spend your first 5 years studying 1 day a week at Coventry University for a Bachelor of Engineering or Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. And the other 4 days a week, you'll be working with the team on highways design. As part of the apprenticeship and that final 6 years, working towards getting chartership with the Institute of Civil Engineers. So that links in with what Hannah was talking about in terms of the endpoint assessment. So we do our endpoint assessment with the Institute of Civil Engineers. As part of the apprenticeship, obviously your tuition fees are paid for, but you also have your salary for working. When I started, the starting salary was around 18,000, but that may have changed, most likely gone up in the 4 years that I've been working with them. We do offer some other opportunities. So we have another level 6 degree in quantity surveying, and we also offer a level 2 MVQ in highways operations. So that's a bit more of a manual hands-on, that's the actual maintenance on the road. So yeah, some of the opportunities we've kind of got. They do, in terms of numbers, we do vary them year to year. It's just dependent on what the company can offer. But if you are interested in any of those, just check them out on the Milestone Careers website. All the information's there, and you can filter out by apprenticeships as well. Next slide, please. So this is just like a little overview of my career journey. So basically, when I was at school, you know, I probably thought, what's the classic route of you go to school, you do your A-levels, you go to university, and then you get a job. And that is not how it went for me at all. I did go to school, do my A-levels, and then actually went to university to study biology. But within a couple of months of, probably about 2 months of being at university, I kind of started to feel like it wasn't right for me. So I ended up taking a gap year where I was working in a retail store. I actually decided to go back and finish my degree because I'd already done a year, so why not finish it off? Following that, I ended up working a couple of jobs, some part-time, some 0 hours, and I'm feeling like not really sure what I wanted to do, and I didn't really have like a clear career path. So I ended up looking around, seeing what other options there were, and I decided I wanted a career change, and I came across apprenticeships, and specifically degree apprenticeships, because it allowed me to earn whilst I was learning, and obviously not having those tuition fees. It was a great way for me to get into a completely different sector. So now obviously I'm in my 4th year of my apprenticeship. Last year I was highly commended at the Oxfordshire Apprenticeship Awards that Oxlep run. So I think that kind of shows testament as to, you know, the benefits that I've gained from an apprenticeship. And obviously the money's gone up. We get pay rises on a 6 monthly basis. So I'm now earning around £25,000 a year, which is obviously good. Next slide, please. So what do I actually do? So civil engineering itself is kind of like an umbrella term for a lot of different aspects. I specifically work in highways design, but there are other areas. So you've got flood management, structural design comes under civil engineering, so the design of hospitals, houses, anything like that. But specifically Milestone, especially we work in highways design, and these images are just some of the examples of work that I've done. So we do kind of offer rotations throughout the apprenticeship. So in my first year, I started in one team, and then I've been moved into different design teams. So the first year, I worked in the maintenance team. And as you can see on the left there's a picture of George Street in Oxford city centre. And I was involved in the resurfacing of that scheme. So we start off, it's like a 2-year design process, and I was involved from start to finish. So that includes site investigation, design, all the way through to overseeing the construction of the job. Like there's a lot of planning that we do in the background that a lot of people aren't aware of. So I was quite heavily involved in all of that. And this job particularly was, I think, the first job that I saw through from start to finish. So I'm quite proud of that one. And then after that, I moved into the depots. So our highways operatives, that's where they're based out of. We have one in Dedington and one in Drayton. So I ended up gaining a lot of experience there, seeing what the guys do out on site with the repair and cyclical maintenance of the road. And then most recently, I've been working in the schemes design team. So I've been working on active travel and road safety, and they're two of the projects you can see on the right of the screen. Those drawings as well, so like the design plans are ones that I've created myself from scratch. So you've got that parallel crossing, which is a zebra crossing and a cycle crossing, and that's on Cowley Road. And then we've got, most recently, what I did was the plain roundabout. So we just basically tried to improve the safety and visibility of cyclists through the use of road markings. And again, I've been really heavily involved in those, especially as I'm in my 4th year now. I've been given more responsibility, so I've had even more involvement with these schemes, which has been great. Just as another overview of like my job, so like I said, obviously we go to university once a week on a Wednesday. The other 4 days are split between home working and working in the office. I try to go into the office 2 days a week. It is predominantly a computer-based job where we are working on design. So we use a software called AutoCAD to produce those design plans. But there's lots of planning and working with the council, and that all goes on in the background. So there's a variety of tasks within this job. Next slide, please. So this is just an overview of how I found the apprenticeship so far. Overall, I've absolutely loved it. I really enjoy my job and being able to learn at the same time. And like I said there, the experience you gain at work is invaluable. You're surrounded by professionals and they're always willing to help, and you can just absorb so much knowledge from them. The staff in my office are really supportive. If I need extra time for university to do a bit more studying, they're perfectly happy to give that. Obviously, there's no student loan debt. There's great career progression, so that's within the company, and also if you chose to leave at the end of your apprenticeship, but it is actually a permanent position. So if you do, once you finish your degree, you have a permanent role with the company, which is obviously great in terms of like financial security and your career path. I've been treated equally like any other staff member, very much given the same responsibilities, the same holidays, the same benefits as anyone else in the office. So that kind of old school way of thinking of that apprentices get to do the rubbish jobs and, you know, might have to make the cups of tea is completely wrong. It's couldn't be more opposite to that. Earning money is obviously a great way to gain independence. So doing the apprenticeship, yes, I'm learning, but I'm earning a salary, and that's allowed me to be able to rent my own house. And now I've got my own pets, which is always a bonus. The final thing is studying and working can be tough. I think I actually have really good work-life balance, and Milestone as a company are quite keen to promote that. But obviously there are times when you do have to put a little bit extra effort in just to get over the threshold, especially when it's exam time or you've got deadlines coming up at work. So it's just something to bear in mind. But overall, definitely consider apprenticeships as an alternative to going straight to university. And that's everything from me.
Fantastic. Anna, I mean, great to hear your experience and everything you've done, and great to see those pictures. Well, never again will I ever complain about the surface of a road, as I've just found out it takes 2 years to plan and get into action and do it. So I'll keep my mouth quiet, but I live in London, so we're on a different schedule already.
Yeah.
But it's great to hear. Look, seriously, for parents, it's great to hear from somebody who's done an apprenticeship, doing an apprenticeship. And you can see this is one thing that comes across a lot, that a lot of people say to me, yeah, but it's not a real job, is it? It's not work. It's not actually doing any real work. I mean, Anna, you're testament to that the stuff that you do is proper stuff. I mean, this isn't Mickey Mouse. How did you find, because you did university and you've done an apprenticeship, so you're probably best qualified to be able to tell us both sides of the story. We're not here to say one is better than the other, but what is it about the apprenticeship that you prefer, or that suits you better?
It's definitely been able to utilize the knowledge that you learn at university at work. Having those side by side just really reinforces that knowledge. And yeah, I think that's something that I lacked when I did my first degree. And obviously just the general work skills, you know, your confidence, your ability to communicate, produce reports, anything like that is, you know, you've got 5 years to develop that before you're qualified. Whereas if you've gone straight to university, that's something you then have to build on once you get a job. But yeah, like you said, they're completely different ways of going about studying. Each has the benefits, each has the downsides. So it's just about choosing what's best for you.
Brilliant. Now stick around for questions, because we're going to have questions for you later on. We've got one more speaker to go, and then we're going to still hit questions. I know we're going to go over time a little bit, but it's important to clarify and cover this information. It's really important. But the next person we're going to meet isn't just one person. afterwards, if they are comfortable with it, you might meet her parents as well to get that parent perspective too. But let's move forward. It is Freya, and Freya does work at the Oxford University Hospitals. Freya, welcome to the session. How are you? Apart from currently frozen on screen, which was perfect timing, but we'll get there. I'm going to bring up Freya's screen. She'll talk in a second once we get you sorted out, Freya. But like I said, you've heard from Anna. Anna's an apprentice. She has been to university. She's doing an apprenticeship, is in her 4th year. Talked about the beautifully honest and open about how much she earns and the fact that she gets a pay rise every 6 months. I don't think that will continue all the way through your career, but obviously you will get the pay rises as your level needs them. But you're going to hear from Freya, who has taken a similar but different route. So started at a lower level apprenticeship and has worked her way up differently. So if the powers of the internet allow us, we're going to hear from Freya. She's just sorting herself out, so we'll give her a second. And like I said, her parents are going to be on. Her parents are Fiona and David. And I think it's really important for you parents that are on here, start putting your questions in the Q&A box for us. What do you want to know? Because as a parent, you're probably sitting there and you may have some misconceptions or you may have some worries. Because at the end of the day, as a parent, all you want is the best for your child. That's all you want for them. But sometimes maybe you feel you can't give the best if you don't know the right information. So you're going to have 2 parents who can help you with that information and can answer some of those questions. And Freya, I can see you live and in person. I feel like this is the defining moment of the session. If we can get you on, can we hear you?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, can
Brilliant.
you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
Yes.
perfect.
Look, Freya,
Great.
get away. Take us through your journey.
Perfect. So my name is Freya and I am a level 3 business admin apprentice. So I just want to talk a little bit about my journey. So I started my apprenticeship journey when I was 16. I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I left school. I was kind of thinking towards A levels or college. I think definitely school kind of favoured the 6th form route, but I'm not very good with exams and I used to be really shy. So I was just not really feeling that. So I thought I definitely wanted to explore different options. So when I saw apprenticeships advertised, I was really interested in learning more. So I went to a few open days, explored different employers, and then I found Oxford University Hospitals, which really seemed like a really good employer to me and something that I'd be really interested in. So I started the apprenticeship in 2019 after I finished school, and I did the level 2 business administrator apprenticeship. So that was a 13-month course and I worked in maternity, and in that I was kind of working with patients, processing referrals, prepping clinics, answering the phone, reception, lots of different kind of workplace skills, working with patients and kind of learning all about the skills that you need in the workplace. So after that, my department then said that they wanted me to do a level 3 and support me through that. So I then progressed on to the level 3 in maternity, and halfway through the level 3 I actually had an opportunity to change jobs. So now I've actually moved into a practice and development team, which is a band higher in a different department, but I could still continue the apprenticeship. So I was guaranteed the job at the end, but I'm also still finishing off my apprenticeship, and I'm actually got my EPA next month. So I would say with my apprenticeship, what I've gained from the apprenticeship is confidence and really helpful workplace skills. So like I said before, I was so shy in school. I didn't really feel recognised in school, and I felt like I just felt like I didn't want to do another 2 years in 6th form. So doing the apprenticeship, I've learnt so many amazing skills like problem solving, using initiative, conflict management, adaptability, and really good communication skills that I know that I just wouldn't have been able to learn elsewhere. Also valuable workplace experiences. The business admin allowed me to rotate into different departments. So I worked in clinical governance, finance, in the directorate PAs and ultrasound, lots of different places I managed to rotate to, which related to the apprenticeship I was working in and helped me cover different areas of the standard. And also I've had so many enrichment opportunities. So at the moment I co-chair a young apprentice network we have, which supports apprentices under 25. So we do lots of kind of fun events. We do peer-to-peer support. We do kind of talks with senior members of staff. We do lots of things to help apprentices when they first go into work, to show that they have that kind of support from other apprentices who get it. And also I would say, another thing is that I am an ambassador for Oxlep, an Apprenticeships ambassador. So I've been to schools, colleges, talking about my experience and explaining that apprenticeships are such a good alternative and academic route alongside for young people and also people of any age. And I would say the last thing that I've learned with my apprenticeship is to embrace challenges and changes. In the NHS, there's lots of challenges, and working throughout COVID, there was lots of different things that happened in the department I was working in, but I've been supported throughout the whole thing. I'm really lucky that the apprenticeship team at the hospital is really good. My managers have been lovely and my colleagues have been great, and I've just got a really supportive environment that has really helped me through. And I would just like to touch on a few misconceptions. A lot of people think that, like I said, apprenticeships are for people who maybe didn't do that well in school. But again, I got all the grades I could to go to sixth form, but I decided to do an apprenticeship because I saw the benefits of the apprenticeship and I wanted to learn those skills and gain the qualification and the job at the end of it, which is why I chose to do it. And I also, another preconception is apprenticeships are the easy option compared to A-levels. Apprenticeships definitely aren't an easier option, but they are such a good option. You really get what you put in. So even though you do get that study time, you do get supported throughout the whole course, but you definitely do need to work hard, and it is hard work, but it's all really worth it at the end. And I would like to say as well, opportunities it gives me for the future. So after this apprenticeship, I know I'm probably going to have some time off apprenticeships and working in my role that I've got at the end of it, but I could definitely now, it's kind of open the routes for higher level apprenticeships. I know I could do lots of different higher level apprenticeships if I wanted to, and it just gives that option that I can have that if I want to, which is really exciting and just such a great thing. And just a few little tips I've got for people who are considering apprenticeships. Researching organisations is such a good idea before. That's what I did with my organisation, and it definitely picked the right one for me. I looked into the different levels and the requirements, and then I found what fit well for me. I got shown around my first ever workplace, so I could kind of get a gauge for where I'd be working, who I'd be working with, and that really helped understand what I would be doing. And also preparing for the interview, so doing things like reading the job description, kind of researching the values and ethos of the organisation you're looking for, and just follow your instinct with the apprenticeship, whatever sparks your interest. Definitely go for it. Like I said, I did it and I don't regret it at all. And even now, I'm kind of unsure what I want to do in the future, but this is such a great stepping stone for me in my career, and it's opened my eyes to lots of different careers and pathways that I can do in future. So that's what I would say about my apprenticeship journey so far.
That's fantastic, and it's great to hear. I said earlier from 2 apprentices, actually I think it's wrong because Hannah, I think you said you're doing an apprenticeship as well, so it's 3 apprentices on the call. All at different stages, all come in different ways and learning different things. And it's great to hear those different points of view. We're going to have loads of questions. Start putting your questions in the Q&A box. We'll cover a few. Look, Freya, because of the way you went on to your apprenticeship, you went after GCSEs. Now, when did you start researching them? When did you think that I want to do an apprenticeship rather than go on to A-levels or university?
It was before my exams, actually, because our school was kind of putting things out before ideas about what we were doing. So it was probably around April time, start of the year before my exams. I was looking at lots of different places because I was kind of weighing up where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do. So I did a lot of research in advance before, so then I could make an informed choice about what I wanted to do. Okay,
good. Now, I've mentioned it maybe 70 times. Your parents are with you. What did they think about it, about your decision to go and do apprenticeships? I don't want to be rude, but were they supportive? Did they know enough about it that they could support you, or were they a bit bewildered, a bit like, you know what?
Well, they can share it with you in a second, but I think from my perspective, they were a little bit, I think, apprehensive at first, because my brother did actually do an apprenticeship. My older brother did an apprenticeship and had a good experience with that and a really good pathway. But because I did well in my GCSEs, I could have gone to sixth form, I could have done lots of different things, I could have gone to uni, but I think they were a little bit worried that maybe it would have been wasted, I think, and that it was, you know, because they didn't want me to pick something and then kind of regret it afterwards. So that's what I think they thought. But once I actually started working and was telling them about what I was learning at work and all the great things about the apprenticeship and all of the opportunities it then led to me kind of getting involved with, they were like, this is the best thing you could have done. We couldn't imagine you doing sixth form or, you know, that type of thing. So that's how I think they thought of it in the end.
Okay, brilliant. Anna, I'm going to ask you the same question actually about your parents. How did they support you? Were they supportive of it? Were they a little bit bewildered as well, like you're doing what after a degree?
Yeah, I think they were slightly confused, but I think they also, once I told them about it, you know, that I didn't have to pay for my tuition fees, that it was part-time studying, part-time working, I think they kind of understood the reasons and my logic for applying for it, especially because I was changing into a completely different industry. And yeah, they've been completely supportive of it ever since, and they can see how much I've progressed during it.
Brilliant. That's what we like to hear. There are a couple of questions, and I've got Leah. I know you're still here. Hopefully we can still hear you as well, Leah. We didn't check afterwards, but I'm sure we can. A couple of questions are, look, if you've done GCSEs, would you go into the advanced level of apprenticeship? And I think that's something that we need to clarify. So if you're finishing your GCSEs, which are the A-levels, which are the apprenticeships that you can go on to, and which are the ones that you would go on to after you've done A-level equivalent, so BTEC, T-level or whatever?
Okay, so it is dependent on the employer, but typically you probably would go on to a level 3 apprenticeship after doing a level 2. And then after a level 3, you'd probably go on to a level 4, level 5. Now, don't be offended or put back if an employer advises you to redo a level, if that makes sense. So they might kind of say, okay, I know you've done your level 3, but we would like you to do a level 2 apprenticeship or whatever level it is. That would only be because although academically you have the grades, you don't have the skills and experience and knowledge within that sector. So what they would want you to do is spend some time learning the values, learning those skills, and then going up through the levels. I hope that kind of makes sense.
It does make sense. And one thing I'll add to that is, we say it's an equivalent, but don't stick to that hard and fast, because it is about the skills that you're going to learn. So sometimes you'll go onto a degree apprenticeship, it should start at level 4, but they'll ask you to start at level 3. Don't be put off by that. Don't look at it and go, yeah, but level 3 is equivalent to A-level. I've already done A-levels. Don't look at it like that. It's about the qualifications you get. Life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. We're going to be working many years, so don't study everything in the first 5 minutes of your career and then do nothing for the rest of it. But Hannah, you were going to say something. Apologies.
No, I was just going to support that. And yeah, typically, I'll just explain how we would look. Typically, a year 11 leaver, we would encourage to go on to a level 2 apprenticeship, because you're learning those work skills, the practical skills, the 80% on the job stuff. An academic element is a lot smaller. It's only 20%. So typically, as a year 11 leaver, we'd push on to a level 2, and then could progress to level 3 if they wished, or they're standalone. But that's a lovely progression. And typically, a year 13 leaver would be a level 3. But if they were really lacking practical experience and maybe confidence and maybe work experience, then actually absolutely a level 2 would be great. So it's absolutely more about practical application and readiness for the level rather than academia.
That's the important thing that is going to be taught through this. There's learning, and then there's being ready for work, and you're combining the two together. So companies will always support you, and if they're suggesting do a level 2 instead of a level 3, or do a level 3 instead of a level 4, listen to why and think about it. You know, we heard Anna gave those difference between university and the degree apprenticeship. Let's go back to Freya a second. Freya, are your parents available to tell us what they thought about you doing your apprenticeship? And what I'll ask them. I know they're Fiona and David, so welcome to the session. But what do you think it's given Freya? Whilst we shuffle seats, what do you think it's given Freya? Even talk about maybe your older son as well, about his apprenticeship and what he did and what it's given them. And what misconceptions did you have that have been completely blown out of the water?
I think, first of all, we had done quite a lot of research with Freya prior to, in a year 11, right at the beginning. We'd visited several schools to look at A-level options. We've been to her local college several times, and there was nothing really that I could see that was firing her interest at all. And actually, she mentioned going to the apprenticeship, and we went to the event actually with a completely open mind, completely not expecting really anything out of it. And as soon as she went in there, I could tell that it was going to be the right thing for her. She became alive. She was so interested about the variety of options at this open event. And as we walked out, after probably spending quite a few months not really knowing, she said, I'm going to apply. I'm going to apply for that job, that apprenticeship. And from there onwards, it was great for us. It was she had a focus, and it took her through her GCSE year. We knew that she was academic, but she had something that she wanted at the end of it, and that seemed to spur her on, really.
Yeah, it was great. She really opened up, and she was very shy before, and now she holds meetings and talking like this. She'd never done that before, so it was a great career pathway doing an apprenticeship. Because you earn and learn at the same time. You learn so much doing an apprenticeship than without the cost of a student debt.
Brilliant. I mean, you can see the confidence as well, because look at how Anna's presented and everything that she's spoken about being honest about her journey. We need to remember that Anna is still young as well, and not new to the workplace, but sometimes these things can be daunting. I'm further down the line, and I still get scared by things. But also, Freya, we had that little technical issue, and you dealt with it so well. This is what an apprenticeship gives, really, isn't it? Is that ability to be able to blend into the workplace and learn those skills that you wouldn't otherwise get a chance to use, because we know that young people have them. This is the point of them. Fiona and David, I'll ask you one last question. What would you want to say to parents who are sitting here thinking, I'm not sure about these apprenticeships? There's something that doesn't sound quite right. What advice would you give them, and what would you say about them?
I think for our children, it has been transformative. They've realized there's something that a skill that they want to learn, and they can really hone that skill and take it as far as they can. They have the option. They are studying, and as well as studying, they're on the job working, and that experience of workplace skills is unrivaled. When I see Freya and her contemporaries, I can tell that if they were at an interview, because of the practical experience, the confidence, the skills, the real life knowledge that she's got, and that I think she would be head and shoulders above other candidates. And I feel even whatever she chooses now, that foundation for her working career and the life skills of resilience, sticking at things, rising to challenges, everything that we have in workplace, but also in life, that's just it. And I was one of the parents, I would say, that would have said initially, well, I just hope that she's going to be challenged enough. I hope she can go as far as she wants to. I don't want it to turn her off learning. Actually, it's been the opposite. She realizes she can. There's no playing in the workplace. You're there, you're supportive, but you're doing the role. And that makes you grow, and you grow in different ways than you would maybe if you were just studying. And for different people do different things. But for me, it's to see the way Freya has been transformed from quite a sort of a very good worker, but a sort of almost an invisible member of the school, working really hard, to somewhere where she's been noticed and her work has been commented on, and having the opportunities to develop herself in the professional sense, but also through her learning, it's just been amazing for her.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. Really, really appreciate it. Freya, well done for bringing your parents along as well. So that's really good to hear those different stories and those different points of view. Let's cover a couple of the boring questions, which are important that we need to get the information out of. Somebody has asked, when should you When should a year 10 start looking for an apprenticeship? I'll give you my opinion. A year 10, if you're looking to do an apprenticeship at level 2, start looking now, because you can't apply to year 11. However, start looking now, because then that means that you're giving yourself more time to have a look at what's around, what's available, what am I going to need, what do I write on my CV, what kind of process am I going to go through, rather than getting to year 11 and trying to pack it all in and scramble the research. Start now. Give yourself time to do it. You can start applying during year 11 for potentially a September start, or other start dates during the year as well. That's my opinion. But I'm going to go to Hannah, because I know you have a lot of knowledge in this area as well. I want you to cover that question. So when should a year 10 start looking for an apprenticeship? But also the other one that's come in is if my aim is to own my own business, should I choose an apprenticeship or T-levels/college? Quite a difficult one to answer, but give it a go.
I'll start with the easier question about when should someone start looking for life after year 11. I don't think you can start early enough. I know Oxlep and schools and careers partners start careers conversation from year 7 upwards, have human libraries, have guests in, doing assemblies, careers events, careers festivals. You know, start as young as you can to start building a sort of an, if you like, a portfolio of ideas, of options and opportunities, because there are so many. I actually sometimes think, because there's such a range of fantastic opportunities, it's almost a bit harder than when I had a choice, because I didn't really have a choice back in 100 years ago. Yep. There was probably 2 pathways. There's so much opportunity now, so it's never too early to start. But I think in earnest, my strong advice would be use work experience opportunities to dip your toe into things, do voluntary work, build your CV. Get yourself out there, put your feelers out, try and get some part-time paid work to build your confidence, you know, even if it's I don't know, hospitality work. Get yourself out there, because you'll just start to see things that really appeal. But in terms of very practically, beginning of year 11, you really need to start applying. We start our recruitment as early as autumn year 11 for the following September cohort. We've already had at Ignite Sports 3 or 4 open events. I've already made 3 offers of apprenticeships for September starts. Brilliant. So this is now prime time to apply. Absolutely. And yeah, you do your research, go to taster days. Any good employer will invite you to come along and spend time with them. They're not just going to do an interview and make a decision there and then. We invite you to come and spend at least a day with us, longer if needed, so we can really get underneath the skin of that young person and really understand their needs and work out what we can do to support them. The question about what's best if you want to start your own business, do you know what, I'm going to almost sit on the fence with this one and say, I think it depends on your learning style, and it depends on you as an individual, and it depends on you as a person. Everyone learns differently. I'm a very practical learner, so something like an apprenticeship, learning on the job, doing the job, sleeves rolled up, that's the apprenticeship route. That would work for me and does work for me. I'm less switched on by reading textbooks and writing essays and dissertations. So you can get to the same, I would say, you get to the same destination, but there's loads of different ways you can get there, and the world's not linear anymore. We've discussed the world doesn't go GCSEs, A-levels, degree, running your own business, millionaire. That just doesn't happen. There's so many different routes. We have young people that do a level 2, they do a level 3, they might go to university, they come back, they might do a level 4. We have students that do BTECs that go on to HE. We have students that join us at end of year 13, do a level 3, level 4, then go to uni, etc. I just don't think the world's linear. I don't think there's a set path. I think you follow your instinct, and you do what you think feels right for you.
Absolutely. Go out and do what's right for you, feel what's right for you, but get that experience and learn, fail, don't succeed at things, and then bounce back and succeed, and that will help you in business further on, because in business you will fail a lot, and that's how you learn to go forward. In everything in life you need to fail before you can learn to move forward. Leah, I know you clicked on that question about the when should a year 10 start looking for an apprenticeship. Did you still want to answer that one?
Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Brilliant. Okay. What I was going to suggest, and a bit of a shameless plug here, Oxlep are organising what we call Careers Fest on the 22nd of March at Kassam Stadium. Some of the schools within Oxford know about it and are coming along, but there's also a parents' evening twilight session, 3:30 till 6:30. There's about 70 employers there, many of which offer apprenticeships. that's a great way, whether you're year 10, year 11, year 13, come along, come and have a chat with them, get a feel for what they're offering, and make yourself known. If it's a company that you really want to work for, make yourself known, go and say hello to them.
Brilliant. It's not a shameless plug. I mean, this is your event, so you can say really. That's brilliant. There is a question that says, is it very competitive to get a place on an apprenticeship program? I will give you the statistics that I know about apprenticeships that give you the comparison. Look, and I'm going to compare it to once you finish at A levels and you're looking at going to university to get a degree, or you're looking at a degree apprenticeship. The competition is not at the university stage. If you're looking to apply for a degree apprenticeship, your competition is going to be your graduate role. So once you get your degree and you're applying for a graduate role, and I'll explain why. Because university have thousands, tens of thousands of places. Okay, there's not really a limit on a place. If there's a space at the end of the bench, they're going to put a seat there and take another £9,000 within reason, so that they can still deliver quality courses. But that's a different consideration to an apprenticeship, because a company has to have a real opportunity and a real job available to be able to offer that as an apprenticeship or degree apprenticeship. But then similarly, you come out of university, whatever degree you do, there's tens of thousands of you, and there's a certain number of roles, and only companies have a certain number of graduate roles. You're going to apply for a graduate role because you got your degree. The ISE, the Institute Student Employers, their statistics currently show that for every one graduate role available in England, there are roughly 100 graduates applying for that one graduate role. But if you're applying for an apprenticeship at any level in England, for every one apprenticeship role available, there's currently 35 to 40 students applying for that one apprenticeship role. So the ratio is a lot lower. That means there's a lot less competition to get onto an apprenticeship than there is to get into a graduate role. That's where your competition is. The other thing I will add to that is ignore competition. If it is what you want, don't worry that 99 other people are applying. You go for it. If that's your passion, you apply for it. And you show through your interview and your application that it is your passion. Because as a recruiter, I can guarantee you, if you really want that job, you're already putting yourself in the top 2-3% of candidates that have applied, of applicants. Because we get so many speculative applications to every job. Out of 100 people, I guarantee you there's a number that have applied. And when I ask them, why have you applied to this role? Oh, well, I've just finished university and I need to start a graduate role, and this one looked all right, so I thought I'd give it a go. That is a genuine answer that I hear, because you need, as a person, you need to cover your bases. There's the one or two that you really want, but if you don't get those, you've got to apply to others. And if you're one of those ones that really wants that role, remove the noise. Doesn't matter. You concentrate on you and focus on you and what you bring to that company and what you can offer. That's what you concentrate on. Don't worry about the others. Okay, it's as simple as that, because otherwise you're wasting time thinking about things that you cannot control. Focus on what you can control. Okay, brilliant. We've answered the when should a year 10 start looking for an apprenticeship. Leah, last question for you. It says, who do Oxlep partner with in terms of businesses and colleges, and where do we find the Oxlep apprenticeships that are advertised?
Okay, I'll put in, so we don't necessarily advertise ourselves through Oxlep, but the OxMe website sounds very similar, is a great place to look. I'll put that in the chat box for you now. We partner with, oh gosh, a whole different range of businesses, big and small, across the Oxfordshire area. I guess a good place to look would be our website to kind of see what we do and what we offer. We also work with, I think there are 53 schools and colleges within our hub as well. So we work with most schools across the region, and training providers like Ignite Sports. So we've got many partners that we work with. I hope that kind of answers it, but let me put some more information in the chat box for you.
Stick it in the chat box for us. Last thing to do before we go, let's have a quick closing poll. Let me launch that. You'll see the session. You'll see the information come up on your screen. Following the session, how much more do you know about apprenticeships? A lot more? A little bit more? A fair amount more? Following the session, which route are you or your child thinking of taking after leaving school or college? Be honest. Tell us. University, degree apprenticeship, straight into work, other level apprenticeship, gap year. Last night, I think we inspired a few people to decide to take a gap year. Remember, these aren't, you can answer for yourself and for your children as well, or your children can answer for themselves. Click what they're thinking about. So we're almost there. I'm going to give it 15 more seconds. I can tell you already 53% of teacher on, they know a whole lot more than they did before. So we've done now, I think we've done a good job there. We definitely have. There's been lots of information. 50% are still not sure and are going to keep researching. Great, keep researching. There's lots of different demographics on here. Parents, students, keep doing that research. Come to more sessions. Rewatch this recording. Okay, give 10 more seconds. I'll just say what's put in the chat box. You can follow the Oxlep on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Social media nowadays. Right, let's share these results. Let's have a look. So 56% know a whole lot more than they did before, and 44% know a fair amount more. We've done great. 8% are thinking of university degrees, 36% looking at degree apprenticeships, 40% looking at other level apprenticeships, 4% going straight into work, 0% on a gap year, fine. Maybe wait a few years until you get there and think you need a break. 48% still not sure. Keep researching, keep looking at the resources. We put them up there for you. You've seen them. The information is out there. And if you decide that that's the way you want to go, you've seen how many opportunities are available, and you become an amazing young human being like Anna, like Freya, and even like Hannah. She's done an apprenticeship as well. So yeah, keep researching, keep asking the questions, keep probing. Thank you so much to everybody who has joined, that has asked questions, but mainly thank you to Oxlep for putting this together, but to Hannah, Anna, Freya, and Leah for putting information together, presenting, giving time back, going over time 2 nights in a row. I apologize, but the information is important. So thank you to all of you. Really appreciate it.
Very welcome.